Recorded. So it's January 2nd, 2017. And I'm super excited because I actually did the call last year, the first one, and I rewatched it today because I wanted to get I wanted to go back to what I said last year and see what changed from last year to this year. So not only talk about things that we should do, but things that didn't work for me last year to admit to the things that I thought were great ideas and I thought were gonna throw it out the park, and then it didn't. So basically the gist of the call tonight is that I want to go over what Kara talked about yesterday, and she's the author of Girl Code and the Champagne Diet. So she had some really good points, and actually it's probably everything that I would have said anyway. So it was really good to hear it from a different perspective, and it definitely reignited my engine listening to her. The other thing that's awesome is that we have this all access plan that we've been talking about like crazy, and it's just open. My dog just ran into he just ran into the gate head first. That was so funny. So the all access plan, I know for me, I don't know how you guys are doing with it, but literally blew up my business out of the water this week. Danny, come on, you're so distracted. I can't stand him. Can go away. Oh my God. So anyway, long story short, for anyone that's a new coach, I don't think there's anybody that's new here, but I'm Angela. I've been doing Beachbody my third New Year's, so I know something about the New Year's boom and how we can sometimes after 6 months start to dwindle down in our business because we forget all the motivation we have on the first of the year. So I'm going to go right into my slideshow so I don't yap and go on tangents. So just give me 1 second while I share my screen. Can you guys see? Yes? Okay. So basically this is how we're going to slay our business in 2017. And the first thing that Kara talked about, and I thought it was really good because it's kind of what I was focusing on as well, was the word of the year. So she was saying how we should pick a word of the year and stick to that as our theme of not only our business, but our life. And it's funny because her word and my word were the same word, and it was clarity. And I know that for a fact, the biggest downfall in my business and my life and my fitness and health this year has been that I didn't have clarity. And that meant so many different aspects for me, meaning sometimes I was just doing too many things at once, and then I was trying to overachieve, or I was just having a lot going on in my personal life that made me unclear of what I was doing in my business. So clarity is a big thing that I know I need this year. Let me just make sure everyone's muted. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So clarity was definitely my word as well. So find the word that you think probably was your biggest downfall last year that you need to change this year. And that could be so many things. So I'll skip right down where it says subwords. So my other subwords are driven, focused, motivated, and happy, because I know that that's how I need to feel every day or almost every day to make my business run. And if I don't feel driven or focused or motivated, then I'm not happy. Because me and Rosanna had a conversation today on the phone, and I was saying, I'm reading all of these time hops from last year, and it's really just making me so motivated because I saw how focused I was last year and how driven I was. And when I feel that way, I'm so empowered by my business, and it just makes me happy, and it makes me really good at what I do. So you need to find what's going to make you really good at what you do. And you're happy is not everyone else is happy. So you have to find what's going to give your business life, and don't try to go by whatever someone else says. Just because clarity is my word doesn't mean it's your word. Find your word, find your subwords, and literally write them everywhere. So that was number 2. Put them everywhere. Put them on your fridge. Put them on a vision board. Put it on your phone that it goes off on an alarm every morning. And remember that that's what you're striving to perform, to achieve every single day of your life, not just your business, but life in general. Because for me, when I lose clarity, I lose everything. I feel like a bad mom, I feel like a bad wife, I feel like a bad friend, etc. And if you feel bad in your regular life, you're not going to feel good in your business. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about right now is going to focus more on self-love and self-care, but it all comes back down to your word. So really after this, I'm going to put up a post in the group, and I want everyone to write their word and then their subwords underneath it. And then I want everyone to take a picture of where they put it in the next few days so that we know that you're really focusing on that one thing that you're going to stick to for the year. So I'm just going to go over basically take care of you, design your ideal week, change what didn't work, and carry what does over, and stay humble. So that's pretty much what we're going to go over. But first, we're going to go over the actual 7 tips that Kara gave last night on the call. So number 1, her tip was unsubscribe, and that meant from emails, lists, and groups. Go through your emails, your Facebook groups, your Instagram, whatever it is, and cleanse it. Like, take away distraction. She said how like she'd wake up in the morning and have all these emails from like Lululemon or like Soul Cycle and all of these things, and she'd get so caught up with either reading the things that were sent to her, or she was getting caught up in deleting the things that were sent to her. And she was just saying, like, clear your mind, clear your space. And I know that for me, when I clear my Facebook groups, I feel awesome, because when I have so many, I just don't want to look at any of them. So when I'm getting all these notifications, especially from the MLMs that just add you into them, don't ignore it. Take it off. I unjoin all of them. And I'm not being mean, but I'm not interested. And when it's in my space, it's clutter in my mind. So go through your emails, and I'm guilty of this and I think Darby, you're guilty of this too, because we always have like 7,000 emails, and people look at my phone and they're like, I have such bad anxiety when I look at your phone. And I'm like, I know, it's terrible. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to declutter my email. Number 2, and I loved it because I just did this last week because I knew the new year was coming. So that's why I thought this call was so funny, because it's so me. But clean out your closet and tailor your clothes. So she's saying, if you have things in there you're not going to wear, get rid of it. If you have things in there that you want to wear but they don't fit, tailor them. Do something about everything that is in your closet and in your drawers. I literally got rid of 3 bags full of clothes that don't fit me because I'm like 2 sizes smaller, but I kept them in case I got fat again. I mean, that's like ridiculous. Why would I keep fat clothes? You're supposed to keep the clothes you want to fit into, not the ones that you might fit into again one day. So go through your stuff and get rid of whatever doesn't fit. For me, a big thing was like style. Like, none of what was in my closet was my style anymore. So why am I holding on to these things, right? And I felt so awesome after I did it. Like, I was really scared because some of the stuff I've been holding on to forever, but it feels so freeing. So keep it simple, clean it out. And obviously we only wear workout clothes like 90% of the time. So who are we kidding, right? Like, let's not keep all that stuff that we're not going to wear. Number 3 is rituals. And it was establish your routines, which is simple. It's easy. Wake up in the morning, know that you're going to make breakfast for your kids or make breakfast for yourself. Are you going to go to the gym? Are you going to sit down and do power hour? Are you going to go for a run? Or are you going to, I don't know, drink your tea and listen to a podcast? For me, last year was very organized. My ritual was wake up, work out before my kids were up, but this is before Donnie was mobile, so it was a lot easier. Put on essential oil that was peppermint, listen to a podcast by Shailene Johnson or Beachbody or something that was of an entrepreneur or lifestyle. And then I got my kids' breakfast ready and got 1 kid off to school. So obviously my life changed in the last year, and I have 2 kids to put to school and 1 kid that doesn't stay in the crib or in the walker anymore. So you can always change your ritual routine, but just have one. Have something that makes you feel like you got up and you know what kind of day you're going to have. And I'm telling you, it's just like such overwhelmingly exciting to feel that way every day. I feel so accomplished and I get so much more done. Number 4, celebration list and focus on happy. So I did this yesterday and then I got on this call. So I thought it was really cool too. That's why I'm so excited about this call. Because I'm like, I did all of this. This is me. But so I did like a ton of things yesterday, but I didn't do a ton of things too because I did so much. So like I cleaned out all my kids' closets and I organized their rooms and I got their school stuff ready for today. And I did all of these amazing things, like 4 loads of laundry, put away completely, dishes, dinners, preps. And then there was like so much Beachbody work that I didn't get to because I have like 50 messages in my inbox and like 60 text messages. And I was like, okay, I have to make a meal plan. I want to make this meal plan. I want to put it in the group. So I'm going to do that. By the time I finished that, I was so tired and I really wanted to take a bath. And I almost started to feel bad that I didn't do like 50 of the messages that were in my inbox until I realized that I did all of that other stuff. And I was like, I'm so proud of myself. I got so much done today and I feel really good about it. And then she talked about this, like celebrate the things you do accomplish, like stop dwelling on the things that you don't get to. Just be proud of yourself for getting 5 out of 10 things done instead of 10 out of 10, because 10 out of 10 is not attainable mostly ever. So celebrate what's done and then move whatever is not done to the next day. Number 5 is set your intentions weekly and daily. And that's pretty much the same as like the rituals and routines. Like just know what you're out to set. Like, so obviously on the 1st, we always want to try to hit Success Club 5 as quickly as possible. That's like a business goal, right? So like that's your goal, that's your intention for this week. And that's always been my intention. I'm crazy, so it was always Success Club 10, but I've learned to know my limits now and say, okay, Angela, like calm it down, 5's enough. 10 can be next week, but you have to know your intention and your daily and weekly business goals, but also your life goals. So for me, my biggest struggle this year is that I got overwhelmed by life with business, because business was such a big part of my life. Beachbody was everything, that I was starting to feel like I wasn't taking care of myself, my kids, or my family. So make sure your intentions go 50-50. Whatever you need to accomplish as a parent, as a wife, as a friend, as a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whatever it is, just make sure you get that done as well as your business goals. Number 6 is get organized. That one's simple. In real life and in business, organize it. Figure it out. Do you have a tracker? Do you have a book? Do you want to use your phone, Gmail, this one, that one? Just figure out how to get organized and get organized. 7, what is your vision for 2017? And that kind of goes with your word of the year. Take your vision, take your word, and set it now. Set the intentions for the rest of the year now, because if you don't, I promise you, you're going to lose it. And last year, as big and as strong as I went into 2016, I definitely didn't set like a goal. I was like all over the place when I think about it now. I was like, I'm going to be elite, I'm going to be this, and I'm going to be that, and my girls are going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to, like, it just felt like so big that when it didn't feel like it was happening, I started to get overwhelmed. Then I started to feel like I was failing. Then I started to get mad, and then I started to get resentful, and it just like trickled down into all these negative trifectas. So like, I just realized when I was listening to my call, I talked a lot about how to be a Beachbody coach good and how to talk to customers and what this and what's that, but I didn't talk about what your intentions were for the year. Like, set one good intention. For me, I'm really just okay with still being diamond by the end of the year and having a successful business and successful clients and coaches. Like, I don't even want to set my goals that high, because I know that too big of a goal might scare me, right? But I learned that about myself this year. So what is your goal? But set it by the person that you are and what you know you can deal with and what you can achieve, and don't overwhelm yourself. And when you hit that goal, then you can make another goal and another intention, but start your vision now at something that you know that you can get to, because you just said it and it's in front of your face. And the last thing she said, which wasn't one of these tips, but she was talking about it, and it's so important for us, obviously, as health coaches, is to sweat. So sweat it out. We have to be working out. We have to be mentally clear. We have to be in shape. We have to be healthy. We have to be happy. Working out gives us endorphins. When I worked out twice today, that's why I'm like on a crazy high right now. We need to be working out. We need to be preaching and doing what we preach, basically. Like, doing what we preach is the most important part of our business. So some things to think about when you go into this year. What are the things that are wearing you down, and what are the things that are lifting you up? So on this, you can see that fulfillment is more of the good stuff. Feeling full, meaning you're feeling full, and habits that you can introduce to make yourself feel good about 2017 or feel good about yourself. And the draining stuff is the things that we need less of. So what is draining you? What can you do without or take away a little bit of? Are you too busy making other people feel full? Is that why you're not feeling good about yourself? Because I know that was a big issue for me in 2016. I was so worried about everyone else that I was always kind of putting myself last. What habits do you have that you think you can get rid of? What can you do without? And not putting yourself first, all in all, is the biggest thing that's going to drain you this year. And that's not just like saying, oh, make sure you go shopping and buy a new pair of jeans. I mean, fit into those new pair of jeans that you want to, because you worked out every day and you ate healthy and you put yourself first, and you didn't make a ton of excuses because you're a mom, because you have a full-time job, because your wife or a friend or someone in your family got sick. Forget all of that every day and focus on what you need to do, and then worry about that. Because I like literally have had a year of being punched and beaten and like just dragged through the mud. And I'm not usually the kind of person that lets things like that get to me. But because I did all of this stuff on the drain inside, it literally drained me, and I lost completely like who I felt like I was for like a long time, and I had to find my happy again. So make sure you stick to your happy and you're not letting people or things or life drain you, because in general, not just in your business, it's going to ruin you, and it's going to make you sad, and it's going to make you depressed. And obviously no one wants to get health coached from someone that doesn't feel good about themselves, and that's the biggest thing. And for me, I felt like a failure because I didn't feel good enough to coach people, and it's a terrible feeling. So feel good every day. Find what you need more of. Find what makes you feel full, and introduce whatever new habits you need to. A big thing that I always stress in all of my whatever trainings or whatever is your ideal week. So some of the things that you should think about are like starting Sunday. I love starting Sunday. Not everyone starts Sunday, and that's fine. Some people like Saturdays or Mondays. They might have jobs that are like a different schedule. For me, it's Sunday. A lot of us do Sunday meal prep. I like to sit down and write out whatever I need to do that week on my calendar. And when I stopped doing that, I started to realize I was doing nothing. Not only in my business, but in my life. I was missing birthday parties. I was missing school events because I wasn't sitting down and designing my week. So start Sunday, sit down, figure out what you need to do, put it down in visuals. For me, calendar on my fridge and a journal or a thing. Like this year, Darby sent us these little ones. They're so cute, and it's so perfect because it can fit in your bag. It can fit right on your desk in front of your computer. And when I sit down and design my week, I open it up to the next page and I start Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So sit down, put it in visuals, put it on your phone, whatever works for you. Look at the bigger picture of the week. So again, like Success Club, if that's your goal, 5, what can you do to get to Success Club 5 this week? How many people do you need to speak to? If you want to lose 3 pounds this week, what do you need? How many times do you need to work out? If you want your challenge group to be the best challenge group you've ever ran, Sunday, can you just design your whole week and like post all those posts in the tracker or on your Facebook? Whatever you need to do, just look at the bigger picture of how you want your week to end. Prioritize your goals. That one's easy. Like I said, you can have 300 million thousand goals for the week, prioritize them, and then go through them. And as you get through them, you go to the next day and you do the next round, and then you do the next round, but just keep carrying them over. And as long as you're prioritizing, everything that's the most important should get done. Big thing that I did last year for 6 months, and my business was insanely awesome, was set limitations on distractions. For 15 to 30 minutes, I use that app 30/30 that we used to always use, which we should definitely start using again. If you're not using it, I'm going to start using it. And I would set it and I would shut off all distractions. I'd put on music or a podcast and I would only work for those minutes. Like that was my time to do my power hour, to answer messages, to send out messages, to email people. Whatever needed to be done that day to make my business successful, I did, but I did it with no distractions. And I know that sounds complicated to most people, but I have 3 kids and now they're under 5, but they were under 4 last year. And I still found time to do that. So when people say, I have no time, I'm like, there is always time. Maybe it's not the time you want it to be. Maybe it's because you'd rather sit on the couch or whatever it is that you want to do or just unwind, fine. But find those 15 minutes. 15 minutes can change your entire business a day. So try to find those times where you can find no distractions and just get it done. And stick to your plan, but don't overthink it. So this is something I'm changing about my 2017 plan, because last year I was like, stick to your plan and you do not go astray. And I was like really, really set on it. And then I realized that's terrible because you're never going to stick to your plan. Life is just crazy and it happens. But if I stressed over it, then I didn't stick to any plan because I was like, I didn't even do what I was supposed to do. So screw it. I'm not going to do anything. This year, my new goal is to set a plan, but don't overthink it if it doesn't go the way you expected. Just try to realize that you're doing the best you can, and there's always another hour, another minute, or another day. But don't lose your plan. Just make it work in a different way if it didn't work in your original way. That's something I'm so guilty of because I'm like a perfectionist. Like I really think that if I don't do it perfect, then I just give up. And it's a terrible habit. So I'm trying to break that in 2017. The key to self-love is self-care. So tea, light music, bubble baths. These are like 3 of my favorite things, especially when they're all together at the same time. And I know that's like my happy, and I know that it makes my day feel like right now when I get off the call, I'm going to go set a bath, put some Epsom salt. I worked out twice today. I'm sore. I know I need to unwind because I'm all hyped up from working out twice and this call and all the excitement of the year. So I need to do this for myself. So keep it simple. Find 3 things that make you super happy. Is it getting your nails done? Is it getting a blowout like once a week? Whatever it is that makes you feel really good about yourself, make sure you're loving yourself. Because, and Kara talked about this on our call a lot yesterday, and I really loved it because I know that the biggest issue for us is when we're not taking care of ourselves. And it doesn't mean like you have to get up and get beautiful every day or feel like amazing and put makeup on or this and that. Like I look like crap today and I'm like whatever, but I showered and I got into a new outfit and that made me happy. So find whatever makes you happy, keep it simple, but do it every single day. Okay, so some of the things that I saw that I talked about last call that I want to change this year or keep. Task management. Keep it simple, and I want to track, but I don't want to overdo it. Because when I track like crazy, and this is not the same for everyone, I'm just talking about myself. When I'm like super tracking Angela, I get so overwhelmed that I quit. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. There's too many things going on. I have too many papers around me, da, da, da. So what I'm doing is just keeping it simple. Instead of trying to track everybody I've ever talked to all the time, I'm just tracking who I talked to for that week. And I'm going to focus on that week. And then I'm going to move to the next week. And then maybe once in a while, I'll go through all the old ones and say like, oh, I haven't talked to this person in a while, or go through my customer list. But honestly, if someone's still interested and they're right in front of my face, I want to deal with them first. And then I'll go back to the other people. And then I'll like reintroduce myself again. But my biggest failure last year was trying to track everyone all the time and be there for everyone all the time. So for me, I'm going in 2017, keeping it very simple. This is my week. This is who I'm going to talk to this week. And next week, maybe I'll add 20 more people. But to say this week, I want to do 10 people. 10 people is who I'm going to talk to. Again, not for everyone. Has to go by your goals. If you don't have this big grand scheme of like being this 5 million star coach, that's fine. Do it however you feel makes you happy, because what makes you happy makes your business stay focused, makes it run. And then you never know what's going to happen, because when you lead with your heart, it just brings you to a place that works. I talked about work hours last year, and I still believe in that. We do need work hours, because if you don't show up to a job, you don't get paid. And that's just the honest truth. And I could be an attestament to that, because straight flat out open up to the world, like I was making sometimes $1,000 a week this time last year all the time. Then I slowly was making $500 a week, and then it was $300 a week, and now I'm steady at like 300. But going from 1,000 to 300 is a huge difference. But it's because I wasn't working. I wasn't doing my hours. You can't show up. You can't not show up and expect to get paid. You still have to do the work. This is not just like a pyramid scheme where you're just going to add 1,000 people and then you're going to sit back and you're going to collect money. This is a real job, and you have to treat it like a real job. And that's really the honest truth. And that's my biggest truth of 2016, is that for like the last 4 months, I just was like praying it was just going to work out and it was going to keep building itself. And it's not going to happen. You need to always be working. So yes, I do need work hours, and I'm going to keep my schedule, but I'm also open to fluctuation. Where last year I was like, I have to work this time to this time and that time. And don't do that to yourself unless you are that kind of person that really needs that. That's different, but be open to fluctuation, but set work hours. It's so important. Self-care, we already said this, I'm not going to go crazy, but one of the things that was big for me last year was self-care in the morning. So working out, taking a shower, and getting dressed. But then I realized, I'm like, you know what? I'm a health coach. I stay home. I'm not going to a business, and I'm okay with that, because that's why I do this. So I'm okay with getting back in my sweatpants and not looking so super cute every time I go show up for my Beachbody work. So that was something I had to let go of, because I wanted to get dressed every day and feel like I was leaving to go to a real job. But if that's the case, then I should just go to a real job. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it in my sweatpants sometimes. And sometimes I'm going to get dressed really pretty in my jeans. I guess jeans for normal people are just bummy, but for me, it's dressing up. But, whatever works for you, just don't overthink it. But you have to still take care of yourself. Don't get caught up in being in your sweat wrap all day. I'm in it now, but that's because I did a second workout. I did shower and change, just letting you guys all know. Making too many goals, again, don't put too much stress on certain things. So for me, my certain things were like, I had to be a lead. I had to do this. I had to do that. And I still want that. Everyone wants that when they're in this business. That's not something you can deny, but I don't have to do it. I don't have to stress if I don't make it, because at the end of the day, if I still have a business, I'm really happy, because I'm still doing what I love, and I'm still helping people, and I'm still building, I'm still bringing people into this that love it just as much as me. And sometimes the best things take a really long time to grow, and that's fine. And unfortunately for me, but also fortunately, I grew so fast, so quick, that I didn't really know what failure felt like until now, which is like 2.5 years later. So it was really hard for me to like deal with failure this year, because I just did too much too fast. So sometimes it helps when you go slow, because when you get there, it's going to feel so much better. And now I know, after failing for the last 6 months, that my new year will feel so much better when I achieve things that I really want. So just make your goals small, big, whatever, but don't stress whatever it is that you don't hit or you don't get to. Just figure out how to change why you're not hitting them. That's my biggest advice on that. Okay, so being okay with a change in schedule. Again, life doesn't always happen the way you want it to, so make your schedule and your routine manageable. Perfection isn't real. Again, I'm a perfectionist, ruined my last year. Share what works, but omit what doesn't. And that means in your business with your coaches, in your business with your clients, in your open story out to the world of people who are watching you to eventually become your clients or coaches, whatever it is. I'm not really big on being like negative on Facebook or anything like that. And not because I'm fake. And I've talked about this if you're on my page before, but because I don't believe in the energy being brought into my life. So when I do share something that doesn't work, like, or a bad day or my kids or anything, I always try to make it positive because that's who I am. But remember that we're not perfect and people like that. And sometimes I get crap for it. And I know Anna's on the call and I can't see her. She's probably gonna make a face right now, but she hates when I come on the calls looking like I do right now because I look like a hot mess. But that's who I am. I'm a hot mess. I have 3 boys under 5. It's like my life is crazy all the time. I don't even know how I work out 2 times a day, run Beachbody, and still breathe. So at the end of the day, that's who I am. And that's what I share. And I'm not going to be a hot mess every moment of my life, because then it's like, people are going to be like, do you ever like go in the shower or whatever? But at the end of the day, I'm still going to share what's real. I'm going to admit when I'm failing. I tell people when I'm falling off. I shared my post today about gaining 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. And that's what you need to do. So don't have to be perfect to be a good coach or have a good business. You just need to be real, and you have to accept that perfect doesn't exist. And be focused, not goal oriented. So I wrote, that's where the hustle comes in and the perfection idea disappears. So instead of focusing on being perfect or being the best or hitting the biggest goals, just focus on hustling, focus on getting up every day and doing the damn thing and not giving a crap if anyone's with you or without you. And I know that a lot of us learned that lesson this year. Like, we just learned, like, you're either with me or you're not, but I'm going to keep going. And I want you with me, and I'm going to be there if you're on the road with me. But if you're not, I'm going to still do what I have to do. So focus on what needs to get done. Focus on your business, on what you need to do to stay in your business, to stay happy, to stay healthy, to be a good person, be a good mom, etc. But don't just focus on the goal. Just focus on the hustle. Wake up every day and know that you're just going to kill it, and no one can tell you any differently. And the last thing, I actually just copied exactly what I talked about last year, because I thought this was the best thing that I ever said, and I wanted to just go over it one more time and lead with this into 2017. So last year I said we need to stay humble, stay hungry, and stay happy. And I still believe that. And I still believe that if I would have stuck to these 3 things for all of this year, I would have been probably way more where I am this than I was last year. But at the same time, you can't think about regret. Just think about what's coming next. And these 3 things are so important. And it says, with bigger success brings bigger failures. So again, I'm sitting here and I'm like, blah, 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 I sucked this year. But it's true, because as successful as I was at one point, there was such a big fail-in point of my business this year. And I'm okay with that, because we all struggle, and that didn't define who I am now. And it's not going to define who I am this year. It's just going to change who I am. And it's going to either break me or make me. But I choose, and you choose what it's going to do. So don't take your failures and think, oh, I failed. Use it. Like, I'm so much more motivated now, because I feel like I just remember why this is so important now. So do that with yourself, and not just with your business, but everything. The same thing with my health and fitness. I'm not on the new year, new me train just because it's the first. It's just that I looked at myself last year and I'm like, dude, I looked better last year and I just had a baby. Like, why am I not looking like 100 times better? So I took my failure and I'm using it. Tremendous success and tremendous failure go hand in hand. So always remember, as good as you do, you can also do just as bad. So just because this month, oh, I made Success Club 20, and then next month you can barely hit 5, that happens to all of us. It's not just you. And just because you hit 5 doesn't mean you burned out. I felt like I lost everything this year because I was barely hitting 5, and I've never hit under 10. In 30, now I almost thought I wasn't going to hit December, and that would have broke a 31-month streak for me of Success Club. And I've been a coach for 31 months. So that was a big deal for me. And I was really sad and I was really depressed. And then when I hit it, I was so excited. But then when I hit 10, even though I thought I wasn't even going to hit 5, I was like, oh my God, I forget how amazing this feels. So don't let those months that feel like a failure define your business. Because if I let those months where I was barely hitting 5 define me, I wouldn't have hit 10 in December, or even I already hit Success Club for January, and it's the 2nd. So, like, I got that fire back in me because I didn't let it define me. So don't let it define you ever, whether it's the points or the sales or the commission or whatever it is that you're looking at. Don't let it define you. Past success does not dictate your future again. So just because like you had the bomb year last year doesn't mean that you're going to have the bomb year this year, but that's up to you. you just have to know that nothing can dictate what happens next but you and your actions and your attitude, honestly. Because I think what I lost this year was my attitude. I lost my readiness to like run this and run with that train. So don't let it define you. Don't let it dictate you. The harder you work, the luckier you get. And that's not true, because you don't get lucky. And I thought, wow, when is my luck going to run out? And I kept saying that to myself, even though I was telling everyone, like, don't think I'm lucky. I'm not lucky. But in my head, I was like, oh God, I'm so lucky. I just keep getting like that last customer to make me get to 10 every month. And this is awesome. And then when I started to like say, oh, when is my luck going to run out? It did, because I started to work like my luck was running out. So there is no luck in this business. It all is work. And that's the best advice I have from you from all of my failures this year. Luck does not exist. Luck is where effort meets opportunity. So when you put the effort in, the opportunity comes, and then you feel so lucky, but you're not. You did the work. You put the effort in. So believe in what you're doing. Don't believe that someone out there just sprinkled some fairy dust on you and made you a really good Beachbody coach, because they didn't. You made yourself a really good Beachbody coach. Less you learn and experience, less you offer. So biggest part of what we do is being the product of the product in every single way. And that means personal development, health and fitness, productivity, consistency, whatever it is. When I wake up every day, no matter what I do behind the scenes, and I work out and I share it, or I snap myself at 7 a.m, getting ready for my workout, or whatever it is that I'm doing that's consistent and that I'm showing that I still do it. The reason my business still works right now, and I'm going to be 1,000,000% honest with you, is because I never stopped being the product. I could have been behind the scenes ignoring every message I got because I just didn't want to get out of bed, or I didn't want to talk to anyone that day, or I didn't want to track, or I didn't want to whatever. But people didn't stop showing up. They kept coming because I was still doing what I needed to do. And that's really the biggest, best, most effective advice I'll give you this year. When you start to give up on yourself in any way possible, that's when it's going to stop working for you. But even if I ignored people for 6 months, they were still messaging me. People are still switching to me, even though I didn't feel like the best coach in the last 6 months, because they saw me still showing up and still doing what I need to do. And that's the biggest thing that you need to do every day. And sometimes it sucks and sometimes it's hard, but it's so important. And just be true to the person you develop into. So today, who you are won't be in this next year who you're going to be in. I'm not going to be the same Angela when I do my 2018 call, because I'm not the same Angela I was in 2016. And that's fine. And in some ways it's amazing, and sometimes it sucks, and every year changes you, but develop into it, learn to groove with it, move forward, and just follow your heart. Like literally at the end of the day, following your heart, leading with your heart, that's the best thing you can do for your business. And don't get cocky, make good choices, follow your gut, and work your freaking butt off, period, the end. If you think you don't have to work or it's ever going to be easier, it's not. Ask any of us that are like diamonds or star diamonds, whatever it is. Ask Darby, who was an elite coach last year. Like, we all have failure, and we all know what it feels like. And we all know that when we don't work our butt off, it just doesn't work. And if you don't follow your gut, and if you're not worried about yourself first, it just doesn't work. So that's what I want to end with. Right here I have, last but not least, trust yourself, believe in you, roll with the punches, and make yourself your biggest fan and be your biggest priority. And I definitely was guilty of not doing any of these things last year. And they're just so important in life, in family, in business. And every entrepreneur that's successful is successful because they believe in themselves, and they know that no one can take them down, and that they're going to do whatever it takes to work. And that's the way that you need to think too. Because if you're not thinking that way, then you're not projecting that out to the world. And then no one wants to be coached by someone that doesn't believe in themselves, or doesn't feel like they can do it, or doesn't feel confident. So you have to be confident in who you are, and just be happy with wherever you are in your journey, health, fitness, or business. And that's what I have for you guys. I really wanted this call to be as positive as possible, but also really stressing that I know that I failed my business this year, because I think it's so important to put out there the stuff that we know we didn't do right, or we didn't do. I still have my team. I love my team. They're like my best friends, and I never left them, but I also didn't grow. I didn't do anything. I just stayed where I was because I was okay with that. And, you know, you have to be the kind of coach you are, but I know that that's not who I am. And I know that's not what I want. but I made myself okay with it, and I made myself believe that's what I wanted because I was scared of failing. So don't be scared of things, guys. Like, really do you, and that's all I got. Does anyone want to say anything or add anything or tips, something?
I'll add a tip.
What?
I'll add a tip. I'll talk. I'll speak. That's
Go
our
ahead.
new resolutions this year, because or not resolutions, goals, because I don't speak on these calls.
Go ahead.
Last night after Kara's call, she answered a few questions for people that called in, and one of the people that was calling in, they spent the whole time trying to come up with ideas and trying to create more interesting things about themselves and creating content. But in reality, she's like, just do you. Just do your life, live your life, and put that out there, what you're doing. Stop trying to create any type of life or create a new life. Just do you.
Yep.
Tell me.
I love that, because I think that's what you changed going into the new year as well. I think that you last year, just in general, I think we all do that, is try to mold ourselves and develop ourselves. And that's so important in other ways. But when it comes to this, the best thing is to just do what feels right. I mean, that's my motto of 2017, do what feels good, do what feels right. If you think about it too much, again, it comes down to the simplest things, right? I suck at making pictures with words on them. So I stopped trying to do them. I just text Darby or Rosanna and say, can you do this for me? Because I don't know how to do it. It takes so much of my day away. And then by the time I get the picture up, I don't even know what I was going to talk about. So it could be as simple as something like an edited picture, or something as big as who you want people to think you are, right?
Right.
So,
or as simple as you said, I was getting out of my gym clothes to go get dressed and fancy, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
yeah.
Certainly there's days you get fancy, but it's not every day.
Yeah, and I think that you appreciate that time more because you're not usually that person. But for me, I was trying to fit a mold, and that's not really who I am. I don't even want to get dressed when I had real jobs. So I used to go in yoga pants and get in trouble all the time. So yeah, that's why I was a medical assistant. You got to wear scrubs. So at the end of the day, exactly, that's a good point, Steph. Don't try to fit a mold if that's not who you are, because you're not going to feel comfortable, and then you're going to give up. And I know that was a big thing for you. I know that you definitely are going into the new year. I'm Steph, and this is how I'm going to run my business. So it's a good point for everyone. Does anyone else want to add something? By the way, I felt really bad for that girl because she was trying to get her thoughts out so hard, and she was talking so long, and I felt so uncomfortable for her. I was like, just finish your sentence. But it was a good call. You guys have to listen to her actual call. I think she posted it. I'm not sure if she did. I'll put it in our group, but literally it was an actually really good, straightforward call. And she has such good energy. So it's so good to listen to her talk. Does anyone else want to add their tip for the year or add anything before we end? Let me see. Darby wrote, we learn from our failures, better to live and learn now. Seamsies. It's true though, right? We all definitely went into 2016 with this crazy high, but it's okay because now we've learned a lot this year. But I also think that everyone's business has to take a big, huge change, and sometimes in a bad way to for me, the end of the story is, and the honest, from my heart truth, and you guys know I'm always super honest and I talk from my heart because I'm the emotional one that cries all the time at Summit now. But because for me, what I learned the most in the last 3 months is I don't really know who I am without Beachbody. And it's not because it's some psychological thing. It's not the Shakeology. It doesn't make me it doesn't have something special in it. It's just the whole lifestyle, the idea of it, the people that we have, these calls, everything about it makes me get up and have a routine and have a life that's driven and focused and motivated. And I feel empowered. And I said this again to Rosanna on the phone before. I was like, when I feel empowered by my Beachbody business, I feel like I could take on the world. No one can stop me. No one can make me sad, hurt, miserable, nothing. When I felt that way all the time, it was just a different life for me. So at the end of the day, if you really truly believe in that and feel that, then you have to roll with that, because anything else is just too big and can distract you. But I know in my heart that this is where I belong and this is my calling. So if you feel like this is your calling and this is the thing that works for you, then make it work. Work your ass off and make it work. But that's it, Darby knows because she's my amazing coach who didn't ditch me this year, no matter how mean and terrible I was. Such a negative Nancy this year. Terrible. So everyone feel good? Ready for 2017? I'm going to be back to positive, super uplifting Angela. I swear to God, because I feel that way. I just wanted to get out all of the bad things first. Like I needed to like put it out there into the universe and say, okay, guys, like I know I'm a screw up. We're back. We're going to be good. Like, so I'm really excited. I know so much of my team is on the call right now. So I love you guys so much right now, and everyone else that isn't on my direct team, but we're all a team. Thank you guys for showing up and listening to my rants and raves and tips. I'm going to post it in the group so you can tag your downlines, or you can listen to it later if you didn't catch all of it. But thank you so much for being on this ride with me. I can't believe this is the 3rd New Year's that we're spending together. So I'm really, really excited about the new year, and I think that it's going to be good. And let's just set our sights on whatever works for us and whatever makes us happy, and make sure that we're like loving ourselves first. That's it. Yes? Okay, guys. I love you. Thank you for getting on, and I'll talk to you later.